Welcome to episode 38 of the Student Pilot Cast. Thank you, sir. May I have another? I'm Bill Williams, and I'm learning to fly in front of the world. Come join me as I complete my Stage 3 check.
Chandler Tower, Cherokee 4121 Tango is at Chandler Air Service. We have Zulu, and we'd like a south departure, please.
What does it take to be an angel? Where does the sun go when it sleeps? Is every star that shines
Welcome back, SPC listeners. I'm glad to be back with you for another experience on my road to becoming a private pilot. Today you'll be coming along as I complete my third stage check out of 4. As you know from my previous few episodes, I'd been preparing for this. As I also mentioned before, I'd spent the previous 4 days of training for this stage check, including a make-up solo the morning of this check, which you can hear all about in episode 37. So finally, here we are, ready to get passed off to one of the chief pilots to make sure I'm ready to enter the 4th and final stage of my training. The instructor and check pilot I'd be flying with today was Matt. The way Chandler Air Service does this stage check requires that I don't know where I'm going to be going until just before the flight. I'm given a bit of time after being told where I'll be going to create a plan for the flight and go over it beforehand with the check pilot. It's a bit like a ground lesson and a test rolled all into one. Of course, after flying the short flight planned, we'd likely do a diversion and he would have me demonstrate some other maneuvers as well. So this day, Matt told me to prepare a flight to Goldfield Ranch, or AZ-25, a private little strip, about 10 nautical miles or so northeast of Falcon Field, or KFFZ. My flight plan took us from Chandler northeast toward Falcon Field, transitioning Falcon's airspace, and then on to Goldfield. Now, Goldfield is hard enough to find on a sectional chart, but from the air, it's downright camouflaged. I guess you'll hear all about that when we get to the audio there. For now, I had my short 25-mile flight planned and approved by Matt, so we were on our way. We'll start here grabbing the ATIS and my initial call to ground.
Chandler Tower Information India, time 1547 Zulu, wind 350 at 11, temperature 34, dew point 14, altimeter 2983, visual approach in use, landing and departing runways 4 left and right. Notice to airmen, multiple obstructions in the vicinity of Chandler Airport up to 310 feet AGL. All departing aircraft advise ground control of direction of flight. Use caution for bird activity in the vicinity of Chandler.
Chandler Ground, Cherokee 4122 Tango is at Chandler Air Service. We have India, and we'd like a northeast departure.
Cherokee 4122 Tango, Chandler Ground, taxi to runway 4 left via Alpha Delta.
Taxi to 4 left via Alpha Delta, Cherokee 22 Tango.
It was still a little windy, 11 knots, but not as bad as earlier in the morning when I took my solo flight. The next day was the 4th of July, so everyone was revving up for picnics, hot dogs, fireworks, and whatever else everyone does. And remember, this is Phoenix, so it was blasted hot out there. So even though it was still just late morning, it was already 35 degrees Celsius, so our density altitude was probably already north of 4,000 feet. Matt gave me some quick instruction on leaning properly and knowing why to do this when density altitude is so high. Basically, put in full throttle and lean for max RPM. At this school, the procedure was to get to max RPM and then enrich a bit more. That was their standard operating procedure, but I know many other people and organizations that have their own procedures, so certainly don't take that as gospel. After getting it leaned properly and finishing the rest of the run-up, we were ready to get going. It was only getting hotter, and sitting on the taxiway was absolutely no fun. As I pulled up to the hold short line, Matt gave me some instructions. I'll let it run through the request for takeoff. I trailed off at the end of that request because I had it in my mind that I'd be doing a short field takeoff instead of a soft field, and I was about to ask for a momentary delay when I realized I didn't need it.
Since you're all warmed up, Adam, why don't you do a soft field takeoff?
All right. Chandler Tower, Cherokee 4122 Tango is ready at 4 left. I almost requested a delay.
Cherokee 4122 Tango, Chandler Tower, hold short of runway 4 left, arriving traffic.
Holding short of 4 left, 22 Tango.
Chandler Tower, helicopter 9, Victor Hotel is done on location and transition northbound.
Helicopter 9 Victor Hotel, thank you. And that R22 that I said was westbound appears to be northbound now, off your right about 2.5 miles, same altitude.
Yeah, that's accurate site. Thank you, ma'am. 9 Victor Hotel.
Helicopter 9 Victor Hotel, thanks.
While we were waiting for traffic, a Cessna 140 was coming in, presumably on a short field landing, because he barely, and I mean barely, by about 6 inches or so, got his mains on the pavement. You'll hear both of us expect a big cloud of dust and debris everywhere. He was coming in steep and very short. I thought he was in the dirt for sure, but he just made it. After his mains hit the pavement, his tail wheel came down just a moment later, also not very far onto the asphalt. I guess it was a perfect landing if he was going for short field, but there was absolutely no room for error on that one. Let's go all the way to takeoff.
Cherokee 312, extend down and I'll call your base for departure.
312. Chandler Tower, Cherokee 47851
That is Cessna 150? Arming 140?
You better add a little power here.
Cherokee 47851, Chandler Tower, hold short of runway 4 left.
Hold short 4 left.
That's pretty good if it's a short field landing.
Short field landing.
We can slow it down for both departures if you like.
Cherokee 312, whatever works for you.
312.
Cessna 155, monitor ground 124.4, taxi to the ramp.
To the ramp, 155, and happy 4th of July.
Thank you, too. Cherokee 22 Tango, straight out departure approved, runway 4 left, clear for takeoff.
Straight out approved, clear for takeoff on 4 left, Cherokee 22 Tango. Indy.
Get in ground effect, fly with it, keep it right over the center
runway 4
line.
left, clear for takeoff.
What speed do you have to accelerate
Cherokee
to?
312, thank you. Runway 4 left, clear to land.
4 left, 312.
That's pretty good. The only thing I might add to that is that
15 miles.
you want to try and be at full power by the time you reach the center line.
Okay.
Okay? Just maybe a little touch more aggressive getting that power in there. But other than that, that's pretty good.
Cherokee 43601, is it calling Chandler Tower from the west?
Affirmative, 43601.
Cherokee 43601, Chandler Tower, thank you. In our left base, runway 4 left, report a 2-mile left base.
601, report 2-mile left base for runway 4.
I had a question here about the clearance and when I could turn, so I asked Matt.
She gave me a straight out departure. When I'm out this far, can I slightly turn left on course, or should I ask for that?
Well, I would ask. I mean, if you don't want to go straight out, ask her if it's all right if you make a left turn.
Channel Tower, Cherokee 851, did you call our south turn?
Cherokee 851, just going to call you. Right turn southbound approved.
851, thanks.
Cherokee 22 Tango, frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved, 22 Tango. There we go.
Okay, so I had to thread the needle a little bit to stay out of Gateway's Class Delta airspace on the right, the Class Bravo on the left and above us, and get it all sorted and get a clearance to transition Falcon. It was a little nerve-wracking. In the meantime, Matt was asking me how I knew I was out of the Bravo to the left and how I knew exactly where I was and so on. So while I'm trying to verify and I'm listening on a packed Falcon Field tower frequency, I was starting to get close to their airspace without a lot of options. Matt vocalized a warning that was not necessary. I was already aware my time was running out while I was fighting drifting off of my altitude. I was getting pretty nervous.
I'm getting close to their airspace here, so.
All right. So what's the plan? I thought you were going to fly 3,000.
Mike, traffic's turning left base to 2-mile final Cessna.
You're going to be in Falcon's airspace in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
Falcon Tower, Diamond 4153, Whiskey, holding short runway 22 left, request for takeoff, left turn, southeast on departure to Apache Junction.
Diamond 4153, Whiskey, Falcon Tower, roger, traffic on 1.5-mile final Cessna. Runway 22 left, clear for takeoff, left turn out approved.
Left Cherokee, clear for takeoff.
Diamond 53 Whiskey, use caution, wake turbulence, King Air just departed.
53 Whiskey, Roger.
Falcon Tower, Cherokee 4122 Tango is over the Superstition Freeway. We'd like to transition your airspace from south to north.
Cherokee 4122 Tango, Falcon Tower, ident, transition, Falcon Clouds, Delta surface area 2,700 or above, approved. Falcon field altimeter is 2985.
2985, we're identing, and we'll transition 2700 or above, 22 Tango.
Cessna 141, runway 22 left, clear to land.
14 clear, land to drive.
Woo, that was a close one. I really was starting to wonder what I'd do, and Matt just let me deal with it. I wonder what his backup plan was, actually. Anyway, we got the clearance, and we continued northeast toward Falcon Field. And just beyond, about 10 miles or so, my destination, a Goldfield Ranch. Falcon was busy. I'll let this run so you can hear the traffic until I was released from the frequency and back on my own.
Experimental 990 Golf Sierra, Apache Junction, inbound with Kilo.
Diamond 4, Archer 47, Mike, traffic in front of you will cross the runway, continue turn, and then to the ramp, taxi parking lot, ground point 3.
Experimental 990 Golf Sierra, Apache Junction, inbound with Kilo.
Experimental 990 Golf Sierra, Falcon Tower on the level base, runway 22 left, report 2 mile left base, ident.
Yeah, Golf Sierra, we've probably gone a little past that by now.
Experimental 0 Golf Sierra, ident. Diamond 74 Bravo, runway 22 left, cleared for takeoff, left turn eastbound, approved.
Cleared for takeoff, 22 left, left turn eastbound, 74 Bravo.
Experimental 0 Golf Sierra, what are you saying you passed, sir?
Negative. Actually, we're kind of set up for a long straight in here right now.
Experimental 0 Golf Sierra, roger, straight in runway 22 left. I didn't observe 5 miles east-northeast altitude, indicates 3,300. Runway 22 left, continue traffic, holding your position.
0 Golf Sierra.
Cherokee 22 Tango, frequency change approved.
Next departure southeastbound, sir.
Sorry about that, step on Cherokee 22 Tango, frequency change approved.
22 Tango.
Helicopter 68 November, frequency change approved.
Helicopter 68 November, frequency change approved, thank you.
Number 1, Cessna holding short, runway 22 left, safe call sign and direction of departure.
I spent the next few minutes looking for that tiny dirt strip. This is what was going on.
Now there's this road right here. So right at the bend of the road, after a straightaway, so that's right here. Well, it should be right in front of me. Slow down a little.
I'm curious why the slow down and descending.
Oh. So I could have a little more time to see it.
To the southwest, take arrival, Tango 1, please.
Evac 4, thank you, and that's
I mean, if you're looking for something that you can't find, it's better to be higher than lower.
True.
Thank you, Evac 4.
And Evac 4, just in case you had a question.
I don't even know which direction it runs because it's not on my chart.
But due to your position, you needed to...
Well, it wouldn't show it on your chart anyway, even if it was on your chart.
I think it's this strip right here.
I know sometimes it seems frustrating.
Right?
No, I wasn't frustrated.
Right
I just
there.
wanted to make sure I was doing it right.
It's got a little turnaround there.
It goes this way, right?
Yeah, right there.
Okay, good. All right. Take me to Superior. You know where that is?
Nope.
Right there.
Okay.
So, I thought I did a pretty good job finding it. I guess he didn't agree with my decision to slow down and descend to get a closer look around where I thought the strip would be, but I did find it, so all was well. As you heard, as soon as I was there, he told me to divert to Superior, or Echo 81. I didn't know where that was, so he showed me on the chart and let me at it. Here I am trying to figure out which direction to fly and at which altitude. Matt is quizzing me on where I'm at and what my plan is throughout. I was feeling a bit overwhelmed at this point already.
You need 2 hands to do this.
I know.
We'll let go of the yoke. What happens to the airplane?
Yeah, I'm not trimmed up.
Okay. Get it trimmed. It'll stay in the turn.
Evac 4, thank you. No traffic.
Fly with your feet. I mean, you know, you're not doing it for a half an hour, but you're just long enough to get yourself a line drawn, figure out what's going on. Oh, there's another way to do that. I mean, if you look at it like this. Okay, look. We're going this way, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's southeast. The other side of this straight edge is parallel to this course, right?
Gotcha.
So what if you just slid it over like that to the Stanfield VOR?
Great idea. So 125.
Tower, Echo, departure to the north approved.
And I'm right over the field.
Buenos dias.
So I'm going to turn to 100.
What can we do about our altitude here?
Well, we're definitely going to need to gain some.
Have a good day.
How much can we gain?
Likewise.
That's what I'm asking you. What if you were going to fly there, what altitude would you pick to fly?
7,500. Well, probably 8,500. Got a 5,000 peak there.
How high can we go right here?
What do you mean? How much
airspace? No, right where we are right now. How high can I climb right here?
Right here I can only go to 5,000.
Well, here's Goldfield. There's 7,000.
7,000.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't see
But
that.
you're coming back down through 5,000, right? So we could at least fly to
5,000. 4,800.
So where are we right now?
We're right 965 with Gulf Falcon Tower, runway 22 left, cleared for takeoff, eastbound departure approved.
Right here. I don't know that yet. Nope, we're right here. Right where I put that line. Because the river's still in front of us.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, these mountains. There's a peak at 3,300.
What altitude did you say you wanted to fly on the way out there, cruising wise?
I'd probably go, well, I'd probably amend that to 7,500.
Okay. All right, there's an engine failure.
As you heard at the end there, he pulled the throttle and gave me a simulated engine failure. We were at about 4,000 feet at the time over terrain that was probably about 1,700 feet MSL. Here's what I did. I messed up a little bit at the end as I chose the wrong direction to land on a road. So I got too low, put in the flaps a little bit early, and ended up having to switch to a field rather than the road. Not my finest hour. All right, there's 73. Definitely going to turn around because I don't want anything to do with the mountains. I have a couple of options over here, so I'm going to head that way.
What are your options?
I've got this big parking lot here. I've got that big straight long road, and it looks like I got sort of a dirt access road there. But I'm going to try an engine restart at this altitude. So full rich, carb heat on, boost pump. I'm going to make sure that the getting a little slow. Okay. Try these. Switch tanks. Okay, no restart. I'm gonna get on 1215, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. 2 souls on board. We're about 10 miles northeast of Falcon Field. We're going down. I'm gonna brief you, so make sure your seatbelt is fastened. When we get lower, I'm gonna have you open the door
a little bit
right before touchdown.
How do I do that?
What I'm going to need you to do is pull this up and then open that latch. Don't worry about it swinging open. Oops.
Where are we going?
I'm looking. Okay. I'm going to go right down here and land on this road. It's an access road, so there's no cars on it, and there's no power lines. The power lines go straight. So come back around.
Watch that speed, man.
Yep. Just noticed.
Which direction are you going to land?
I'm going to land coming back this way.
So you're like turning on a downwind here?
Yes. Touchdown point's going to be right here. So, a little low.
Remember that when you put flaps on, you have to pitch your nose down to maintain that speed. Now where are you going to land?
I just switched to this field right here.
All right, let's go around.
Okay.
Go around.
Well, I still think we would have been fine, but I sure didn't execute it like I should have. I was way more nervous, I think, than I should have been. I was certainly learning a lot, and it was a good training experience. As I executed the go-around, Matt started right into the next phase of the check, and then debriefed me a bit on the emergency procedure.
Okay, when you're able, I want you to turn right to 030 degrees and climb to 4,000 feet. Not bad there. The only thing that really screwed you up there, I mean, you really were close into that field. Yeah. Really close into that road. And you remember what happens to your stall speed as you increase bank.
Yeah.
What happens?
It goes down.
It goes up.
I mean, up.
Yeah,
up.
It goes up. So you stall at a higher airspeed.
I'm sorry, did you say 300?
030
Oh,
at 4,000 feet.
Okay.
And you got to be careful of that. You don't want to. Last thing you want to do is stall the airplane when you're just about making it to a perfectly good road. Think about like a traffic pattern. If you were in the traffic pattern in Chandler like that, you're way lower than traffic pattern altitude,
right,
and you would have been really close to the runway. Okay, so you could have come out like this, turned around, and you certainly don't want to put the flaps in until you are positive you're going to make it.
Okay.
Because the flaps and flaps in an emergency situation, you're putting them all in or you're not putting them in at all until you know you're going to touch down. I mean, boom, all of them in, because you want to land with the flaps because that's going to help you touch down at as slow as possible airspeed.
Right.
Yeah, slow as possible ground speed, I should say, too. Okay, let's go 030, and we're on our way up to
4,000.
4,000, going through 2,200. You can take your boost pump off there, make sure your pressure stays up.
Good.
All right, I got the airplane. Why don't you go put the hood on?
All right, as you heard, it was hood time. Let's see what happens when I'm flying just by the reference to the instruments. I'll cut out the dead air time during this segment.
Okay, got it?
Got it.
All right. Continue your climb to 4,000. So reference that attitude indicator and put the wings just on top of that horizon bar. Hold them there. Attitude indicator is primary for pitch and bank. It gives you real-time information on both. And when you're able, give me a right turn to 090. You're clear on the right.
090.
All right, let's come a little further right to 120.
120.
All right, we'll get up there level at 4,000, and we'll try some VOR stuff.
Okay.
Remember, pitch, power, and trim when you're leveling off. So pitch, put your wings on the horizon. Power, you want to set the power at about 2,500, 2,450. Well, with the heat, you need a little extra power.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to cruise along at 80 knots here. We're not going anywhere, okay? You want to hold it down level there until you pass 90 knots, then set the power back. I'm just going to lean this here because gas is expensive. All right, why don't you fly heading 120 for now. And can you tell me what Phoenix radial we're on at the moment?
Are we tuned in? No. 115.6. I want the from. We're on the 60 degree, 65 degree radial.
It'll be the 065.
065.
Okay, 065 degree radial. All right.
Gotta trim this.
Okay. Okay. If I wanted to know, if I asked you to intercept, let me see something here a second. If I asked you to intercept the 360 degree radial out of Stanfield, how would we do that?
Well, I would tune it in. Just check this here. 114.8. Okay, and I'm sorry, what was the radial?
360.
Get it 2, and I'm going to turn right to intercept it. I want to go past 180 because that's the heading I want.
So what do you do in the needle centers?
I'm going to turn to 180 and correct for the wind.
Okay, that's if you wanted to go inbound to Stanfield, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. What did you say?
If you wanted to go outbound, what would you do?
Oh, well, I would do this.
Uh-huh. Well, go ahead.
If I can hold on to it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then...
so if you wanted to go outbound on that, now what heading would you turn to?
Well,
so
I'm going to go 320.
Okay.
and I'm past it.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
You get that? Okay.
Yes.
You look at this and figure it out. Don't try and know your position on there.
Okay.
Okay? Because that won't help you. Okay, now I want you to get your wings level. Pick a heading to fly.
320.
All right. Now take me straight to Gateway. The Willie VOR, sorry. How would you do that?
The Willie VOR?
Yeah, the Willie VOR.
First I gotta find it. Okay. 113.3. Gonna make a left turn to 205 degrees.
All right, I got the airplane. Go ahead and take the hood off.
Okay.
He had me all over the sky with that VOR hood work. I was done with the hood, but he had more flying in store for me, of course. I fumbled around a little bit trying to go straight for Willie, but I did figure it out. We were about to enter their airspace on our way back to Chandler after Matt helped me find where we were exactly on the chart, and he asked where the Bravo was. And I noticed my altitude, and that at my altitude I was about to head straight into it. So I started to turn. He said, "Descend. Now." We pulled the power and ducked under the Bravo. I'm still not sure why my first reaction was to turn rather than just to lose 500 feet real quick and duck under it, but that's what I did, and he had me just duck under it. I was certainly getting some good experience. It was time to transition Gateway's airspace. I've talked about Gateway before. It's the old, now closed, Williams Air Force Base. After being closed during the Clinton administration, Williams Air Force Base was turned over to the city of Mesa and became a municipal airport, which just happens to have 10,000-foot runways that are 150 feet wide. Currently, it's used quite a bit for Arizona State University's aviation program for training, and the area around the airport houses ASU's Polytechnic campus. Other colleges heavily use it as well, and I believe even the University of North Dakota does aviation program operations there, or at least they used to. The military still uses it pretty heavily as well, and there's even an airline flying in there now, Allegiant Air flying MD-80s. It also happens to be the closest airport to my home. It's about 8 or 10 minute drive away. One great recent experience at Gateway, though, is that it was there that I got a tour of the inside of one of the 6 Boeing 787 Dreamliner test airplanes a few months ago. That was pretty cool. It's sometimes nice to have connections. In any case, I needed to transition their airspace to get back to Chandler on the other side.
Gateway Tower 4, Cherokee 4122 Tango is northeast of the field. We'd like to transition the airspace to Chandler.
Cherokee 4122 Tango, Gateway Tower. Contact Gateway Tower on 124.75 with your request. Good day.
124.75, thank you. Gateway Tower, Cherokee 4122 Tango is northeast of the field, 6 miles. Would like to transition the airspace to Chandler.
Cherokee 4122 Tango, Gateway Tower. Transition approved at 3,500. The Gateway altimeter is 2986. Traffic Cessna holding over to Willie VOR at 4,000.
Okay, can you repeat the altitude, please? 22 Tango.
Cherokee 4122 Tango. Transition approved at 3,500.
At 3,500, 22 Tango.
See anything you recognize yet?
Yeah, the airport.
Which one?
Gateway.
Gateway, okay. All right, so now we see Gateway. So where's Chandler?
Chandler is going to be just past it. 210. Going to need to make a slight right turn. I see an airplane going into Chandler.
So I'm looking for Chandler and crossing over Gateway. Nowadays, this is very familiar to me, and it's pretty easy to find Chandler, but remember that at this time I'd never approached Chandler from this direction except once at night, and nothing looked very familiar. It's still amazing how difficult it can be to find things on the ground sometimes. A moment later, I found it.
Okay, I got Chandler.
Attention all aircraft, Gateway to this information, Tango's current. Runways 30 in use, wind variable at 6, altimeter 2986.
Gateway Tower, Diamond Star 4174 Bravo with you, ILS 30 Center.
Diamond 4174 Bravo, Gateway Tower, report snow, you're following a helicopter 4 mile funnel.
Report snow, and we'll look for
for the traffic. We're under 100, 74 Bravo. Gateway Tower, helicopter 70562 is null inbound for runway. GPS runway 30 center.
Helicopter 70562, traffic Cessna left downwind, runway 30 left. Runway 30 center, clear for the option, fly runway heading.
30 center, clear for the option, fly runway heading. 562.
I then eventually got released to start talking to Chandler.
Cherokee 22 Tango, delete altitude restriction. Frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved, 22 Tango, thank you.
Notice airmen, multiple obstructions in the vicinity of Chandler Airport up to 310 feet AGL. All departures advise ground control direction of flight. Use caution for bird activity in the vicinity of Chandler Airport. Read back all hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have Juliet. Chandler Tower Formation Juliet, time 1647 Zulu. Wind 010 to 10. Temperature 35, dew point 14. Altimeter 2983. Visual approaching use, landing and departing runways 4, left and right. Notice airmen.
It's 126.1, the correct one from this direction?
Well, if you're coming in from here, which runway do you think they're going to give you? 4s are in use.
They're going to give me 4 right, most likely.
Okay, so put 33-1 in there.
Dang it. Do you remember the
Archer 961, Golf frequency change approved?
Frequency change approved,
I do. Juliet.
Yeah, thank you.
But put the right frequency in there. Yeah.
Chandler Tower, Cherokee 4122 Tango is leaving Gateway. We have Juliet inbound for landing.
Cherokee 22 Tango, correction, 4122 Tango, make right traffic runway 4 right, report downwind.
Right traffic 4 right, report downwind, 22 Tango.
Cherokee 851, runway 4 right, clear to land.
Thanks for the Juliet, 851.
Oh, you got this fancy knee board, you know.
I know.
Write stuff like that down.
I wrote the outgoing one, India.
Easy to do that when you're on the ground.
Man, I was flustered. I continued on toward the downwind leg. Before I was even able to report the downwind, I got my clearance. Here you go.
Helicopter 87 Kilo, taxiway Charlie, clear, touch, go.
Sorry, 87 Kilo, requesting to make this approach to taxiway Bravo for maneuvering.
Helicopter 87 Kilo, taxiway Charlie, cleared to land, and I'll crash you on the ground.
Roger, taxiway Charlie, clear to land, 87 Kilo.
Sonic 49 Sierra, number 2, follow a Cherokee, a beam maybe slightly behind and to your right, entering downwind.
Number 2, following the traffic, Sonic 449 Sierra.
Cherokee 2 Tango, number 2, follow a Cherokee right base, runway 22 right, correction, runway 4 right, clear to land.
Traffic in sight, 4 right, clear to land, 22 Tango.
After turning base, the Seneca behind me got cleared to land after me. I was secretly hoping he was pretty far back there. I knew he'd likely be quite a bit faster than me on the approach.
Sonic 49 Sierra, number 2, follow the Cherokee right base, runway 4 right, clear, touch, go, that traffic's full stop.
Number 2, following the Cherokee, and I have the Cherokee in sight. Clear number 2 for runway 4 right, Seneca 449 Sierra.
So here Matt was bringing to my attention that I was a little bit fast turning final, and I had a quick discussion with him about my plan to use only 2 notches of flaps. The wind had died down considerably from my experience earlier in the morning, but it was still a bit of a crosswind, and it had been gusting, so I made my intentions clear to him, and he nodded okay, so that's what I did.
Final approach speed in this airplane.
It's 70 knots. Slowing it up right now.
You want to use full flaps?
I was, because of the wind, I was going to use 2. That's all right with you.
We didn't really speak during the landing, but I'll let it play out until we're cleared to the ramp.
Cherokee 851, hold short of runway 4 left, remain 60.
Hold short 4 left, 851.
Helicopter 87 Kilo, hold short of runway 4 right.
Hold short 4 right, 87 Kilo.
Love it when those struts collapse like that.
Cherokee 851, cross runway 4 left. Contact ground 124.4 and off.
Cross the 1 right, contact ground 851.
Cherokee 851, continue your taxi, leave room for a Cherokee behind you.
851, roger.
Check 22 Tango, continue taxi, cross 4 left at November, contact ground 124.4 and off.
Continue across 4 left, contact ground 22 Tango.
Channel ground, Cherokee 475,
hold on,
taxiway
do your
Alpha,
aftermath check.
Cherokee 47851, channel ground, taxi to the ramp.
851.
Sure I got everything? Flaps, boost pump, carb heat, transponder standby, lean mixture, ground. Chandler Grand, Cherokee 4122 Tango, would like to taxi to the ramp.
Cherokee 4122 Tango, channel ground, taxi to the ramp.
Taxi to the ramp, 22 Tango.
And again, we didn't speak all the way into parking. I was extremely exhausted. So it turns out that I was not very happy with my performance on this flight as a whole. I mean, it's still better than a kick in the butt, but I was disappointed in myself for letting the flight fluster me. I wasn't as sharp as I could have been, and I let the pressure of the phase check put me in a state of mind that was not conducive to confident flying. I was also tired. Very tired. In hindsight, during my drive home from the airport that morning, I was definitely second-guessing my decision to fly so often over the past 3 or 4 days, and especially for completing 2 flights that morning. I probably should have postponed the phase check when I figured out that I needed to make up the solo flight. In any case, it was done. We debriefed in Matt's office, and he went over a few things to think about and to work on. He was also encouraging, but I was still disappointed in myself. No matter, though, nothing was going to discourage me from my dream. So I knew I needed to pick myself up, do some studying, and prepare for my next and final phase of my training. I was going to be a pilot, even if this day was a bit below par. Besides, I had a great adventure coming up next. In our syllabus, the long solo cross-country was the first flight in Phase 4, and even after the perceived brutality of my phase check this day, I was still excited for my next solo cross-country, which we'll cover next time. Until then, thanks for listening. I love getting your emails and comments, so keep them coming in. Even today, I hear from new listeners who just started listening to the back episodes, and that makes me very happy that we've created a nice resource of content for hopefully many generations of new pilots to enjoy. If you'd like to contact me, there's several ways to do it. First, a simple email to bill@studentpilotcast.com will do the trick. You can also go to the website studentpilotcast.com and use the contact link to drop me a message. Lastly, you can always find me in the Twitter sphere at twitter.com/BillWil. That's BILLWIL. And don't forget to check out Freddie's Learning to Fly guide if you want to get some details on flight training if you're interested in starting. I'll put a link in the show notes for this episode as usual on the website, again, which is at www.studentpilotcast.com. Remember, you will have bad days during training, and probably in anything else you do for that matter. These experiences, if you're smart about it, will be some of the best learning you do. Don't let yourself get too frustrated. Stay safe. Make good decisions, which is sometimes not to go, of course. But most importantly, when you can, get out there and fly. There is no substitute for experience. The music for today's episode is To Be an Angel by the Canadian band Uncle Seth. You can get more information and subscribe to the Student Pilot Cast using iTunes, Zune, or any other podcast aggregator at www.studentpilotcast.com. Remember, any instruction that you hear in this podcast was meant for me and for me alone in the situation we were in at the time. Please do not try to blindly apply anything you see or hear in this episode or in any other episode to your own flying without thinking it through on your own completely. If you have questions about any aspect of your flying, please consult a qualified CFI.